When I consider the possibility of a new American Civil War, I don't picture soldiers in blue and gray uniforms lining up on battlefields. I don't imagine like a Gettysburg 2.0. What I picture is something far more chaotic and in many ways more dangerous. Political violence, assassinations, bombings, lone actors with guns convinced they're carrying out justice. This is the shape of political conflict in our time. We've seen glimpses of it, moments that remind us of the fragility of the line between political disagreement and deadly action, and how differently America reacts depending on who the target is. Take the attack on Paul Pelosi, the husband of then Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. A man broke into their home, fueled by conspiracy theories, and nearly killed him with a hammer. For many, it was a horrifying moment that revealed how dangerous political radicalization has become. But for others, especially in right-wing media, it became a punchline. Memes, jokes, dismissal. The seriousness of the violence was minimized because of who the victim was. Fast forward to the attempt on Donald Trump's life. A shooter opened fire at a rally, nearly killing a former president, killing an innocent bystander instead. This time, the nation paused. Prayers were offered, security was questioned, and even critics recognized the gravity of what had almost happened. The same people who had mocked Pelosi's attack suddenly spoke of political violence as an existential threat. Then there's what happened in Minnesota recently. State politicians, Democrats, faced threats, assassination attempts, and even murders tied to political motives. But these attacks never dominated the national conversation. They didn't lead cable news for weeks, and they didn't create the same level of urgency even though they were every bit as deadly. Why is that? Because their deaths didn't fit neatly into partisan narratives. And now the assassination of Charlie Kirk. A conservative activist was gunned down while speaking to young people on a college campus. The right has responded with grief, yes, but also with fury. Some voices are calling this war, others demanding retribution, still others blaming the entire political left. The conversation hasn't just been about mourning, it's been about escalation.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives.
Once again, we see how political violence becomes a mirror of our divisions, rather than a wake-up call for unity. And this is how political violence escalates, not just because of the attacks themselves, but because how the rest of us respond. We filter tragedy through a partisan lens instead of seeing it for what it is, a warning that democracy is being replaced by bloodshed. So when I think about a second civil war, I don't imagine uniforms and organized armies fighting on a battlefield. I imagine exactly what we're living through now: attacks on politicians, threats against families, assassinations, bombings, lone wolf actors, all fueled by a toxic culture that celebrates violence when it suits our side. That has the potential to spiral into something far worse. If we don't recognize it for what it is, it will only get worse.